researching through. So start off with your introduction, who you are, where you from, school.
Start?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, my name is James Bukenya. Originally, I'm from Uganda. And right now, I'm working at Alabama A&M University. My position, by training, I'm an agricultural economist. I've been at Alabama A&M for now over 22 years, working at the institution. And I've done different work, but currently I'm in an administrative position. And I'm currently serving as the university's research compliance officer.
Okay.
So I'm dealing with all issues that have to do with research and complying with federal and state regulations as it pertains to research. But besides that, before I took the position as a researcher, I've been involved in the Center of Excellence. And right now, I'm the team lead for the thrust area that deals with forestry. Because as you know, Alabama A&M forestry is one of our niche areas. And I'm working with other counterparts who are experts in this area. Dr. Anaka, Dr. Christian, Dr. Bowman. These are the ground soldiers that are doing most of the work. So mine is trying to get them together to make sure that the work is done, reports are done, and also helping them with management of they have to travel and things of that nature. Yeah, under this Center of Excellence, we have two objectives. And remember that this Center of Excellence is funded in phases. We had a phase one, which ran for 2 years, but still we have some work that we're still carrying on that relates to that first phase of the project. And the first phase laid the foundation that led us into the proposal for phase two under the center. So right now, technically, we are under the second phase of the project, but you find that the objectives are more or less linked. In the first phase, our focus was on collecting background information on our clients. And here when I say clients, I'm referring, we are looking at forest land owners, we're looking at all other small farmers, loggers, and industry supporters of the forest industry. So we started by looking at creating a database that can give us at least the know-how of who is in the industry and who we need to, and also to be able to collaborate with the industry. So we did that initially by carrying out a survey questionnaire over the past 2 years, and the information that we gathered through that questionnaire trying to develop a profile of our stakeholders has been published in an article that has been circulated through the community. And also right now we used that to say, okay, now that we know who they are, what are some of the issues that they are facing? So when we looked at phase two of the project, one of the requirements was for us to look at our youth within these rural areas to see how we can attract them into the forestry industry. And one thing that we looked at was incorporating technology. So the objectives of phase two, we are looking at using open source technology and data sources to be able to train the youth who can at least get employment within the forest industry. So the objectives is specifically technology related, and also another component is looking at some work that is being done at Alcon State that is looking at mushroom production within the forestry industry. So that's another component, and which makes up the second objective, to look at a value added of these mushrooms and training farmers, small farmers particularly, to be able to use that enterprise in addition as they are growing trees to make sure that they can sustain themselves before the trees can reach a harvesting time.
Okay.
So when it comes to collaboration, I think most of the work we do in the thrust area are free that deals with forestry. What we did was to look at other 1890s to see who else has a program in forestry. And we picked specifically 3 other collaborators, which is Fort Valley State University. We also are working with Alcorn State. But we have other silent partners like West Virginia, but they are really collaborating with us, but not heavily as the work we're doing with Fort Valley and Alcorn State. And this collaboration has been very fruitful in that it makes us not to reinvent the wheel. Especially if we are looking at helping stakeholders within the southern area. Instead of us focusing on Alabama, this collaboration with these other institutions gives us access to get data from those other states. For example, if you look at the survey questionnaire that we are talking about, we were able to collect data in Alabama, but at the same time, we worked with Fort Valley because they already have some connections to be able to enhance the stakeholders that we are able to bring within the database. The same thing, I will look at Mississippi, then Alcorn State has the know-how and who is who in the state. So this collaboration has allowed us to expand some of the work that we're doing in that we are crossing state borders, but that has been made possible by our collaboration with some of those institutions. And it also goes without saying, much as I'm saying Alcorn State, I'm talking about Fort Valley State, but also Tuskegee being in the state. Most of the things that we do, much as we know who they are, but still Tuskegee also brings in another angle. For instance, when you look at silver pasture, Tuskegee has done more work in that area than A&M. So collaboration with Tuskegee also brings out that component when you talk about forestry. When you talk about now, for instance, Alabama A&M, we have a big program that deals with the fire dogs, training the youth in terms of fighting fires. We are collaborating with Tuskegee. At the same time, if you look at Fort Valley, they have a big program that is dealing with using drones for forestry management. So we're trying to piggyback on each other. Someone is good at something, then we see how can we tap into that to make sure that the communities in this state benefit from some of the technology that might be spearheaded by another institution. So this collaboration has been positive and good, and then we are hoping that at least as we're moving forward, we'll be able to do better things by the fact that we are not limiting ourselves on what we know, but also tapping into what our sister institutions are doing.